So for the past 6 years, there have been people that have brought up Trump telling people to drink bleach to treat COVID. And I've noticed recently there has been a lot of pushback where when somebody comments something to that effect, other people will then reply to that and they'll say something along the lines of, LOL, you stupid liberal, he never told people to drink bleach. And they're technically correct. Yet, should they be defending him? Let's look at what actually happened.
And today, I would like to share certain trends that we believe are important. If I may have the first slide, please. And while that's coming up, our most striking observation to date is the powerful effect that solar light appears to have on killing the virus, both surfaces and in the air. We've seen a similar effect with both temperature and humidity as well, where increasing the temperature and humidity, or both, is generally less favorable to the virus. I'm gonna have my next slide. And while that comes up, you'll see a number of some practical applications. For example, increasing the temperature and humidity of potentially contaminated indoor spaces appears to reduce the stability of the virus. And extra care may be warranted for dry environments that do not have exposure to solar light. We're also testing disinfectants, readily available. We've tested bleach, we've tested isopropyl alcohol on the virus, specifically in saliva or in respiratory fluids. And I can tell you that bleach will kill the virus in 5 minutes. Isopropyl alcohol will kill the virus in 30 seconds, and that's with no manipulation. No rubbing, just spraying it on and leaving it go. You rub it and it goes away even faster. We're also looking at other disinfectants, specifically looking at the COVID-19 virus in saliva.
Thank you very much. So I asked Bill a question that probably some of you are thinking of if you're totally into that world, which I find to be very interesting. So supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with, but it sounds interesting to me.
So he hears this presentation from William Bryan of the Department of Homeland Security and then stands up in front of the press and says, I'm going to ask this question that probably some of you are also wondering, and then starts to ask about the possibility of using UV light inside, and then asks about the possibility of injecting inside disinfectant. He clearly means inside the body in some way, because he says injection inside, and then also very specifically refers to the damage that COVID does to the lungs inside the body. And somebody in the press there immediately is like, wait a second.
The president mentioned the idea of cleaners with bleach and isopropyl alcohol. There's no scenario that could be injected into a person, is there?
You know, I'm here to talk about the findings that we had in the study. We don't do that within that lab, our labs.
So I would say wouldn't be through injection. We're talking about almost a cleaning, sterilization of an area. Right. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, but it certainly has a big effect if it's on a stationary object.
Okay.
So how do you...
To his credit, Trump then says something to clarify that they're talking about disinfecting surfaces. I don't know if he had thought about what he had just said, or if maybe somebody had whispered something in his ear, so he needed to backtrack. But that's definitely not the way that he had said it before. And remember, when he first got up there to talk to the press, he presented this as, I know I was just wondering this, and I bet some of you were too. Well, they wouldn't have been wondering about whether you can use disinfectant to disinfect a surface, because they probably all already know that in general. And plus, that's exactly what William Bryan's presentation had just been about. It wouldn't make sense for him to say, it'd be interesting to check that, in reference to something that William Bryan had just talked about them already studying. So did Trump technically use the word bleach? No. Did he tell people to inject bleach? No. Did he tell people to ingest bleach? No. So technically, when people say that, it's incorrect. But why people feel the need to jump to Trump's defense here and ignore what actually did happen, which is still incredibly ignorant and irresponsible, just blows my mind. It would still be ignorant and irresponsible if it had been Biden, Obama, George W. Bush, Clinton, whoever. But instead of simply acknowledging, yep, that was silly of him to say that, or yep, that was kind of ignorant, or wow, that was really ridiculous, and then just moving on, they just can't do that. and they take their cue from him and act like that's not what happened at all.
Clarify your comments about injections of disinfectant.
No, I was asking a question sarcastically to reporters like you, just to see what would happen. Now, disinfectant for doing this, maybe on the hands, would work. And I was asking the question of the gentleman who was there yesterday, Bill, because when they say that something will last 3 or 4 hours or 6 hours, but if the sun is out or if they use disinfectant, it goes away in less than a minute. Did you hear about this yesterday? But I was asking a sarcastic and a very sarcastic question to the reporters in the room about disinfectant on the inside. But it does kill it, and it would kill it on the hands, and that would make things much better. That was done in the form of a sarcastic question to the reporters.
So you were